History doesn't repeat itself by accident, it follows a pattern, and that pattern has already destroyed 3 global superpowers. What makes this terrifying isn't that it happened before. What makes it terrifying is that it's happening again, right now, stage by stage, decision by decision. Almost as if history is replaying the same collapse with a different cast of characters. And in 2025, the United States is no longer approaching that pattern. It is deep inside it. Over the last 500 years, only a handful of nations reached true global dominance. Spain, Britain, the Soviet Union. Each controlled massive territory, unmatched military power, and the most trusted currency of its era. Each believed its dominance was permanent. Each believed the rules of history no longer applied to them. And every single one collapsed, not because of invasion or conquest, but because of internal failure. This is how empires actually die. Not suddenly at first, not loudly, not in a single dramatic moment. They die quietly, invisibly, while most people are still convinced everything is fine. Most people imagine collapse as enemy tanks, rolling through capital cities or foreign flags, raised over government buildings. That almost never happens. Empires don't fall from the outside first. They rot from within. Collapse begins with economic exhaustion. The moment an empire expands beyond its ability to sustain itself. Too many military commitments, too many promises, too much debt, too little real production. At first, nothing looks wrong. The currency still works. The military still wins battles. The government still makes promises and people still believe them. Life feels normal. But beneath the surface, the foundation is cracking. Resources are misallocated. Productive industries shrink. Innovation slows. The most capable people quietly leave or mentally check out. Then the decline accelerates. Allies start hedging their bets. Trade partners look for alternatives. Enemies begin testing limits. The reserve currency slowly loses trust. And suddenly, the very advantages that once made the empire powerful become its greatest weaknesses. This is not theory. This already happened. 3 times. In the late 1500s, Spain was the richest empire the world had ever seen. It controlled vast territories across Europe, the Americas, and Asia. Spanish ships delivered unimaginable quantities of gold and silver every year. Their currency was accepted everywhere. Spain didn't just participate in global trade. Spain controlled global money. That control created an illusion of invincibility. Spain believed that as long as gold and silver kept flowing in, nothing could threaten them. That belief became fatal. Flush with wealth, Spain fought wars everywhere at once, in Europe, in the Mediterranean, in the Americas, in Asia. Military spending consumed enormous portions of national income, yet it was never enough. When taxes couldn't cover the cost, Spain debased its currency. Silver coins were quietly mixed with copper. The face value stayed the same. The real value collapsed. Inflation exploded. Merchants stopped trusting Spanish money. Confidence evaporated. To survive, Spain borrowed relentlessly from bankers across Europe. They defaulted again and again, each time promising reform, each time returning to the same behavior. But the most devastating damage didn't come from debt or inflation. It came from abundance itself. Because when money flows endlessly, production stops. Spain stopped building, stopped farming, stopped innovating. Why work when you can import? Why produce when you can buy? Gold flowed in and straight back out. When the silver mines declined, the illusion shattered overnight. Crime surged. Talent fled the country. Entire regions broke away. Within a century, Spain went from global superpower to economic shell. Large on maps, empty in reality. It never recovered. 300 years later, Britain followed the same path. At its peak, Britain ruled a quarter of the planet. The pound sterling was the world's reserve currency. London was the financial heart of the world. And just like Spain, Britain believed this status was permanent. By the early 1900s, Britain was stretched across 6 continents, defending trade routes, suppressing rebellions, maintaining a global military presence. World War I forced a fatal choice: stay out or bankrupt the empire to win. Britain chose war. Victory came at an unimaginable cost. Debt replaced dominance. The creditor became the debtor. Gold reserves vanished. The pound became overvalued. Exports collapsed. Unemployment surged. When Britain abandoned the gold standard, the world witnessed something unprecedented. The global reserve currency, admitting it, could no longer keep its word. World War II finished what the First War started. By 1945, Britain could no longer afford its empire. Territory after territory slipped away. The pound steadily lost value. The empire became memory. Power turned into nostalgia. Britain survived, but only as a former power. The most dramatic collapse came in modern times. After World War II, the Soviet Union emerged as a rival superpower. Nuclear weapons, global influence, military parity, with the United States. But beneath the surface, the economy was hollow. Enormous portions of GDP were spent on the military. Foreign allies were propped up across the globe. The Soviet Union tried to match American reach with a fraction of the economic strength. Factories produced low-quality goods. Farms failed. Technology stagnated. The ruble wasn't trusted by the world or even by Soviet citizens themselves. When oil prices fell, the illusion collapsed. Eastern Europe broke away. The empire unraveled. And in less than 3 years, the Soviet Union ceased to exist. No invasion, no final battle, just economic implosion. Now comes the uncomfortable part. The United States is following the same pattern. The largest global military presence in history. Hundreds of bases. Commitments across nearly every major region on Earth. A currency no longer backed by anything but confidence. A money supply expanded beyond historical precedent. Debt exceeding national output. Interest payments approaching levels once associated with total war. Manufacturing hollowed out. Dependence on foreign supply chains for medicine, technology, energy, and even military components. Trust in institutions collapsing. Social cohesion breaking down. Political paralysis becoming normal. These are not isolated problems. They are stages. Spain completed them. Britain completed them. The Soviet Union completed them. And history shows what comes next. When reserve currency status begins to weaken, decline accelerates rapidly. Demand for the currency falls. Money floods back home. Inflation rises. Debt becomes impossible to manage. Governments face choices they can no longer avoid. Empires don't fade quietly. They fall fast. Every empire believes it's different. Every empire believes it's immune. Every empire is wrong. The pattern isn't emotional. It isn't ideological. It's mathematical. You cannot spend beyond your means forever. You cannot debase a currency without consequences. You cannot maintain empire without productive capacity. Once the early stages are complete, the final stages are only a matter of time. The question is no longer if. The question is when. History leaves warnings for those willing to read them. The answers to our future aren't hidden ahead of us. They're written clearly in the past. 3 empires followed this path before. Each believed they were exceptional. Each believed the rules didn't apply. Each learned the same lesson the hard way. If this changed how you see where we truly are in the sequence, pay attention. Because when the final stages arrive, understanding what happened will matter more than ever. Empires don't disappear overnight by accident. They follow a script, and now you know how it ends.